It is so hot out here. Holy cow. Uh all right. Well, let's do this then. Let's go as quick as we can. Wow. It is a record today. All record heat day. It's over 90 degrees right now and it's what is today? February 27th? Ay, caramba. All right. Let's see. I wanted to start out by talking about oh wait. I was going to do a bit. Hold on, let me do the bit. Um in 1980 damn, it's not going to work. Okay, well, here's the thing. I've always been a sucker for movies. I love movies. I've always watched them. I've always quoted them. Movie quote guy. I was a real movie quote guy, and I used to work in all these industries, but in entertainment, where everybody's a movie quote person. And then I worked in the booze industry and retail, and there it's not so much a thing. But I was always the guy that could quote movies just nonstop, bucka bucka bucka, and we'd have fun with doing that. It was a good time. I still quote movies from time to time. I don't really have anybody around that I can do it a lot with. I can do it a bit with my lovely partner. She's awesome and puts up with my crap a lot. But there's a quote that I use all the time, and it's from the 1987 perfect film, an absolute masterpiece, The Princess Bride, directed by Rob Reiner. Rest in peace. In it, the Dread Pirate Roberts, who is, I'm spoiler alerts for a movie that's 40 years old, by the way. In it, the Dread Pirate Roberts has rescued Princess Buttercup, or at least is pretending to abscond with her himself, that he may force an even bigger reward for her return, ransom for her return. But it's not actually the Dread Pirate Roberts. It's her beloved Wesley. And after he comes out to her, they're trying to get across the bad guy's country to get home, and they're in the fire swamp, and there are three dangers of the fire swamp, and there's the clicking that gives you the fire, bursts of fire, and then there's the lightning sand, and then the final one, after they're going along there, at the final one, she says to him, she says, "But what about the ROUSs?" And Wesley says, "Rodents of unusual size? I don't think they exist." And then the rodent, giant rodent, attacks him. Now, I quote this thing all the time, but I use other stuff. Like, I'll say, a fair and open capitalist market? I don't think it exists. Kind of like that. And that's kind of where I wanted to go today. So let's talk. That was the longest intro I've done in a long time. Trent Takes On 2.0. I'm Trent from the title of the show. How are you? I am okay. It is hot. I am sweating. It is Friday afternoon, and I get to do this pod right now because my middle schooler is at her first ever school dance right now. They do them right after school, and that's fine. That's fine. The school themselves provides all the chaperones and everything. So, I mean, great, whatever. And we wanted her to enjoy, to go to that. So I don't have to pick her up today. So here I am. Well, I don't have to pick her up yet. I got to pick her up in like an hour. Less than an hour. Details. So I get to do this show in the afternoon. Earlier today, I found George. I recorded an episode of No Plan, No Problem, available wherever you get your podcasts. Called, what did I call it? Dreaming about Inception in the Matrix. Yeah, it was a wild discussion and a lot of fun. So check that out if you can. No Plan, No Problem, available where you got this, unless you got it unless you get me on YouTube, because I haven't put that other one on YouTube yet. Even though it's audio only, some people still use YouTube. It's a true story. Anyway, I wanted to talk about capitalism today. And what is it that brought me to capitalism and a real capitalist market? I don't think it exists. Paramount Plus and Netflix. Paramount, the company Paramount, which is actually now owned by Skydance, which is tied to what's the one of the major microchip companies, Oracle. Anyway, the Ellisons, who are huge Trump donors and suck ups, and they're there in the office all the time with him. Anyway, they own Paramount. And now Paramount has made a $111 billion bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, which is the IP that like owns DC Comics and all the Warner Brothers stuff. And anyway, it is, to put this into perspective, it's $31 a share that they're paying for it. $111 billion total. When this bidding war started between Paramount and another company called Netflix, everybody knows what Netflix is, Trent. You don't have to explain that part. Netflix and Paramount both wanted to buy this thing. Netflix wanted it for the intellectual property because they wanted to make their own, DC Comics movies, their own Warner Brothers movies. They wanted all of the intellectual property so that they could make new content. Paramount, we're not sure why. This is a Nepo baby situation. The older Ellison, Larry, who is the owner and founder of Oracle, and he's the money behind all of this, is buying this for his son. And his son runs Paramount, and they hired Barry Weiss to run CBS News, and she's basically destroyed the CBS News division, killed the quality and the integrity of CBS News, including 60 Minutes. And with this Warner Brothers Discovery, they also get CNN, which is exciting. Anyway, Donald Trump has been all for the Ellisons getting this the entire time. And this is important because this is a major merger, and therefore it requires federal approval. The federal government has to approve the merger so that there's still competition in the marketplace and . Mergers have become far too common. They're really bad for us all. I want to talk about that kind of in a little bit more depth in just a minute, but I want to stick to Paramount winning this bid at $31 a share on a stock that when this bidding started, it was at $7 a share. The company didn't do anything to make itself worth 4 times as much. It just didn't. This is an unbelievable overpay. And it's an unbelievable overpay that is all debt. It's all leverage. They've gone to different financial institutions here in the States, and they've got $25 billion from foreign investment funds, namely the UAE, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. So a major broadcast network group or a major media corporation in the United States is now going to be at least partially owned by a foreign entity, which is not ideal. And it's owned by a sycophant to Trump who has put his thumb on the scale to make sure that they got the deal across the line. Netflix final offer was $82 billion. So this was them going back over the top for an additional $29 billion. If you hear that rattling, that's the pee in my whistle. Every once in a while I move it and you can hear my pee jiggle. Such a child. So Paramount is going to take over Warner Brothers, HBO Max, or HBO, the Daily Show, or the last week tonight with John Oliver. They already have the Daily Show because it's under this Comedy Central. A Trump ally is going to decide who stays, who goes, what gets aired, what doesn't on a whole bunch of platforms now. And they're all under one umbrella. Netflix really won here because they didn't wildly overpay for something that, should the AI bubble crash, for the record, should the AI bubble crash, Oracle stock is going to plummet and potentially become a margin call. And that would wipe out the Ellisons completely. Just saying. Just saying. And if that were to happen, all of their, things that they own would go into receivership, and then, Netflix could probably buy it for considerably less than it's worth. Anyway, to make a long story short, this is the federal government deciding who gets to own something, their ally or their non-ally. I wouldn't call Ted Sarandos and Netflix a non-Trump ally or an enemy. I would just call him a non-ally. Like, we don't exactly want to suck up to you for obvious reasons. So they don't. And so he treats them like shit, because in the Trump federal government, if you don't suck up to him, you get investigated. You don't get your mergers approved. You get indicted in some cases. This is a pure, perfect example of wild, over-the-top corruption. I mean, over-the-top corruption. What can I say? Just put it on the list of the things that will need to be thoroughly investigated. And for the record, of course, the Trump government is not going to stop this merger. They're not. California Attorney General Rob Bonta seems to believe he has the power to do so. I don't know how, but go, Rob, go. I don't want all these media companies merging. This is not good for us. This is not good. The other thing that happens here, and then now we'll go into kind of the generalization of mergers, is the more mergers happen, the less competition there is in the market. And when you talk about capitalism, and by God, Republicans scream at the top of their lungs about capitalism and how much they hate socialism and how much they hate communism, and we hate this ism, we hate that ism, we hate this ism. What they should hate is fucking corruption, because allowing these mergers to continue to go through at this rate is just straight up corruption. You're allowing monopolies to thrive. We have got to use the existing statutes to break up these big ass monopolies, these big ass, like, huge industries in the American economy are owned by a tiny handful, controlled by a tiny handful of companies. For example, all the chicken processed in this country, it's done by 4 companies. And they've basically carved up the United States, and so they set prices that way. Okay? Like, yeah, you can get Foster's or you can get this other thing and you can get that one all at the same store, but the ones that are coming from afar, yeah, they're priced a little bit higher and there isn't as much of them. Out here, man, boy, we got a whole bunch of Foster's chicken. Anyway, I don't remember what all the names are. Foster's, Tyson's. There's a lot of frozen chickens, so get it out. It doesn't take much to price fix when you only have to make 2 phone calls, when you only have to check 2 prices. It doesn't take a lot. And when you get to price fix, you can charge whatever you want for the goods and services. And you can do what's called profiteering, which is making a profit above and beyond what is reasonable or accepted. Profiteering is illegal. It's what happens when you just when you develop a drug and you're like, oh, well, this drug only costs us $1 to make a dose, but I'm going to sell it for $5,000 because it, halts a certain cancer. Well, that's not okay. That's an unreasonable profit for a life-saving item. This is ridiculous. I digress. Capitalism, as it's supposed to be known, is hands-off. Okay? The government's not supposed to get involved until they get out over their skis and behave unethically. This government, this particular federal government run by the Mad King and fucking crony socialist bastard himself, Donald Trump, he influences all kinds of shit all the time. He's hands-on. He's always meddling in the company's business. He's always meddling in the market. So they're not free anymore. The government is picking winners and losers. And in this case, they picked Paramount to win this bid. Even though the bid itself is wildly out over his skis. They don't have the money to make this bid, but they did it. They did it. And they'll get away with it. Netflix was making an all cash offer. Totally different, isn't it? We'll see what happens, but honestly, I expect it to go through. The winner here is independent media. Independent media is going to continue to surge and continue to do well because I got news for every, we're going to turn CNN right wing. Just like you turned CBS right wing. Newsflash, motherfuckers. Fox News is the right wing media, mainstream media. There are other crazy right wingers like One America News and Newsmax, and like those people are so far to the right, they're like in Cuckooville. Okay, but as far as mainstream media goes, as far as I kind of trust this stuff goes, why would you do Fox Junior when you can just get Fox regular? You are not taking Fox's audience. You are just making another echo chamber, blah, blah, blah. We are just getting closer and closer to government-controlled media, and that's a problem. So most of America that cares about shit, like every one of you, and I'm positive that you do, you listen to this show, you have good taste, and I like you for that. Everyone who listens to this show is probably with me in following independent media. I get my media from independent sources. And more of those independent sources, I'm talking about the Midas Touches and the Pod Save Americas and the Young Turks and the Majority Report. Minority Report was a movie. The Majority Report with Sam Cedar. They're doing more and more and hiring more and more journalists. The idea being we're going to replace mainstream journalists who are breaking these stories with independent journalists who are breaking these stories. And it's going to work. And we're going to have a major media overhaul. Subscriber models are in. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited. I'm very excited for the rise of independent media. As for this merger, it pisses me off right down to my feet because it's yet another merger. I don't want mergers. I want these companies to start being broken up. There is too much shit owned by too few people. And that is a serious problem. It's a serious problem. All these streaming services, they just keep increasing their prices. Why? Because there's less competition. That's why. Because if Netflix increases their prices because they actually are like creating their own studio now, that's a thing that's happening. It's crazy. Netflix Studios is a thing. And they're making their own movies and TV shows and and there's a lot of overhead. So they've increased their prices and it's understandable. And at least they explain why. And there's still not an advertising model. That's important. Why are the advertising models continuing to up their prices? That doesn't make any sense, does it? All right. Well, I just wanted to talk about capitalism for a minute and say, what we're watching right now, this crony bullshit where the government picks and chooses who wins, who loses, who gets what contracts, how much the contract. They're giving away contracts to companies that don't even bid on them. No bid contracts is what they're called. The husband of the former spokesperson for Department of Homeland Security. I'll get there eventually. Her name is Patricia McLaughlin. Her husband got a $220 million no-bid contract to do public relations for the Department of Homeland Security, which is wild because don't they have people like spokespeople like Patricia McLaughlin? Well, not her anymore. She quit. $220 million seems like a big-ass contract, doesn't it? For no bids? For no bids? Feels like there's several PR firms that would have been able to put in a bid and probably beaten that $220 million. Although, if you do PR for the Department of Homeland Security in 2026, you're probably a scumbag anyway. Anyway, I digress. Capitalism is supposed to be free market. That's what's good for consumers. That's what's good for innovation. That's what's good for competition. Competition is good for all of us, right? But the more that we weed out competition, the more we allow a system where companies will come in with their AI and use AI to just lay off tens of thousands of people, and there's no one else to pick up the slack. There's nowhere else to fight back. There's nowhere else to buy those goods because we can't. Well, God damn it, we can't order from anybody else. Amazon's got the market cornered, even though they're laying off people left, right, and center because they're replacing them with freaking robots and AI. Ridiculous. Anyway, a little bit of a downer to end on, but hey, it's the weekend. Let's have some fun, shall we? I'm going to have a margarita after I get home from picking up my daughter from her dance. That's going to be nice. Margarita day for me. I'll be back with you next week. Until then, I want to thank you again. Thank you for being with me on this journey. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to share me with a friend. Get your whistle. There's my whistle. Share me with a friend. Get your whistle. Get an extra whistle for somebody else in your life. Because you can wear them all the time, and they're good for lots of stuff, like blowing when people are out of control or getting dangerous or whatever. When you're around a lot of kids, sometimes you just want to shut up. Hey, I'm not above that. So get your whistle. Share me with a friend. And until next time, be good humans, because it's the least we can do. You guys are awesome. And I love you. Ciao.